Hi, I'm Matt Collins. I'd like to welcome you to Bob Weber Auto Mart on Douglas Avenue here in Racine, across from Douglas Park. We specialize in 1-year-old, low mileage, almost new cars. And if you'd like to stop by and see them, or see them on our website, bobweberautomart.com, we could save you between $5,000 and $10,000 on your next almost new car purchase.
Welcome into another edition of Sports Junkies. It's our Preps basketball version. See Sparky Fifer from Sports Radio 1250 WSSP alongside Gery Woelfel of the Racine Journal-Times. And of course, thanks for tuning in to RacineSportsZone.com again today to check out another version of our video. Let's talk about Case basketball. That is the team that a lot of people are picking to go to state and have a chance to possibly win a state championship this year. And they did not disappoint against Vincent.
No, they came out smoking. Yeah, Vincent's not a great program like in past years, but they're still a good program, pretty young. But Case came out and showed why they are, without a doubt, one of the best teams in the state. What was really impressive was, number one was they had like a 20-some point lead. Yep. They took no prisoners and get off to a good
start. We carried that game on SSP.
And I was listening, part of it. And so anyways, but when all is said and done, they had 5 different guys in double figures. And it's like
the Bucks are jealous.
I think a lot of teams are jealous.
Yeah.
If you're an opposing coach and you try to game plan for Case, you go, okay, do we shut down King? Do we shut down Jackson?
Right. It's not like you have a Jameel Wilson where, right, okay, he's the guy, let's go stop him. You have to pretty much try and stop the team. And it's that fast-paced tempo still, right, Gery, where they're going to try and run you out of the gym. So if you're not in athletic shape and you're not used to running up and down the floor, and again, when you get to the tournament, that is going to be big, because what's going to happen in the tournament is you're going to get these teams from up north. They want to slow it down, play Dick Bennett, slow me, bore me down basketball, pass it around in the half court against Case's fast, up-tempo style. And will Case be able to play that slow down half court style once they get to the state tournament?
Well, the nice thing about Case too is they have a nice mixture of inside and outside players. Darian King, who played football, who's all of a sudden become a hot football prospect, whereas in the past everybody thought he was a natural Division I basketball prospect, is a big physical guy. Think in terms of like Anthony Bennett, the rookie, somebody that's strong.
UNLV.
And on the high school level, he's hard to match up down low. He gets the ball, it's almost automatic. But he had 17 points, and then arguably the best player on the team is D'Angelo Jackson, and he came out with 16. But again, they had 5 guys, and you know what's crazy? They have 2 guys that are currently ineligible that they hope to get back in a couple weeks.
And those 2 guys will be rotation guys?
They're so deep, they'll probably be like 9, 10 guys, but it just tells you the depth. And I brought this up before. Since I've been at Racine, I cannot remember a better 1 through 10 team. Now, have there been better teams? Yeah, there have been better teams. But when you talk about 1 through 10, they got every one of those kids could be starters.
Well, that's good for Case. I guess you add a couple more kids to it. Horlick, though, loses a couple of players, obviously, from last year, one of which goes to St. Cat's, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But Horlick right now up against it a little bit.
Well, you got to feel really sorry for Jason Tretlar. Everybody's talking about Case, as we just did, as being the team. But the surprise team, in my mind, in this area could have been Horlick. And they still can. But get this. They lose Romeo Bowie to St. Catharines. Right. Bowie's a 6'4" player. He's probably one of the top 5 players in the county, okay? Huge loss for them right off the bat. But then you look at their roster and you say, okay, they can still absorb that loss because they still have some good players. Well, right before school starts, Trayvon Bunch, who's 6'9", 6'10" player who's already drawing interest from Division I schools, decides he's going to transfer to a prep school in St. Louis. So you are talking arguably 2 of the top 10 players in the county from one team leaving, and yet I still think Horlick's got a chance to be pretty good.
Really?
Yeah. This is a great year for several teams in this county here. But interestingly enough, our guy Ricky Neal Jr. Is on the team, and prior to the season, Coach Tretlar decided, well, Deontay Woods is going to start. There's no question about it. He's one of the top 2 or 3 players in the county. He's already being recruited by UWM. In fact, UWM gave him a scholarship offer. He put it on hold to see if he could see what other schools are out there. But anyways, they have 4 or 5 other seniors: Andrew Molbeck, Andre Berry, Danny Mosley, Ricky Neal Jr., who I just mentioned, Drew Hardville. And Tretler calls them together, and he says basically, you guys are all equally good. We got to figure out who's going to start in that, right? Ricky Berry Jr., you're the man.
Ricky Neal Jr. got it?
Ricky Neal Jr. steps up and he says, Coach, I'll come off the bench.
Real.
End of discussion. And props to him. I mean, it just shows you what a team player he is. And
that's awesome.
It is. So they got good players. They got good chemistry. And Jason, is a very good coach. So that's a team to keep an eye on. So
while Bowie is a loss for Horlick, it's a game for St. Cat's. And Coach Letcher, we had in here last week when we did our videos, he's got some different players. I think this year's team is probably better than last year's team, right off, in my opinion at least, because you add Bowie to the mix. Mm-hmm. But now they're trying to figure out what lineup to play. Well, what I like about him is you said better. The main reason could be the 2 big guys, Cafferty and Thomas. They're 6'6", 6'7", and they're certainly better than they were a year ago. I can't wait for that Dominican game coming up. Diamond Stone.
In a few weeks, and see how they counter Diamond Stones, if they put 2 guys, one in front, one in back. But they're one of the few teams in the state that have the capabilities of matching up with Diamond Stone. But they played Tremper, and this is another thing I like about Lech. Even though they're Division IV, he goes out and plays Division I teams. They played Tremper. They held their own with Tremper. They got off to a slow start but came back. But they're going to play Horlick, they're going to play Burlington, and they're going to play Kenosha Indian Trails. So they're going to have at least 4 Division I schools on their schedule before they get into the Metro Classic Conference. So, and that's good, and that helps them in conference play. I wish more schools would do that in non-conference play because it gets your kids ready. And then when they get into conference play, they're probably not going to see that type of level of competition in that conference. Yeah. So, I mean, not only does St. Catherine's have the 2 big guys up front, but Bowie's going to be automatically one of the best players in the conference. He's 6'4", real athletic, very talented. And then they got a kid named Zach Rammelt, who is a point guard, and he's been playing since he was a freshman. And he's gotten better and better. So you throw all these guys into the mix with some nice, complementary players. St. Catherine's, as we talked about before, is going to do some damage again. It's St. Cat's and Whitefish Bay Dominican. And Dominican's another team that'll play Division I team after Division I team after Division I team in the non-conference, playing tournaments, do whatever they have to do. And I mean, obviously you have to have talent. And there are other schools in this conference that have talent, no question. But I think these 2 really separate themselves probably from the rest of the conference. Yeah, no question. And, interestingly enough, Steve Jaskulski has taken a different approach to the schedule. A lot of these teams are playing a bunch of games already. And he's taken a different approach where he's backloaded his schedule and playing more games down the stretch. But he feels he wants to teach as much as he can now to prepare this team for the long haul. Interesting concept, and they got Tremper on Friday night, so I think we'll get a better barometer as to how they're coming along. I wish I could say I had faith in Tremper, but I don't. He's Gery Woelfel. I'm Steve Sparky. Fifer, thanks for tuning in to another edition of Sports Junkies, our press basketball edition, right here at RacineSportsZone.com.